My name is Carolyn Leggett, and I just finished my AEOT transfer degree. It's a milestone for me in a long education plan that I have. I plan to achieve 2 bachelor's degrees, so that will take me about another 8 years. So this is the first of many milestones. It wasn't easy. Having a family and attending school is a lot more difficult than just being single and not having a family. And at first I tried to work and go to school, and I learned early on that that just wasn't possible for me. And so I had no choice but to stop working so that I could completely focus on my school. And for a while there, we were living off of my student loans. Making ends meet was difficult because I have a husband who has chronic epilepsy, and normally he's very well balanced, but there were things in his diet that we discovered that were causing him to have more seizures, and it took us about 6 to 8 months to figure that out. And so not only was I going to school full-time and having to carry my household financially, I was also having to deal with having a sick husband. I worked hard to form study groups, and sometimes it can be challenging to get multiple people in a class together who have odd schedules and they're all over the place, and sometimes it's hard to get everybody together to study. But what I have noticed is that when a group of people get together and they grind on the material together, everybody's grades in the group go up. And so when I struggled with finding study groups because everybody's schedule was all over the place, then I would approach the instructor and ask them if they knew of any other study groups with other classes that they were teaching. And a lot of times they would hook me up with those other study groups so that I could still meet with people who were working on the same material. The textbook lending services was probably by far the biggest contributor for me. I didn't have to worry about my textbooks every year, and I could go out of town and enjoy a nice vacation and then come back a few days before school and not have to worry about getting my books right before the beginning of term. It was handled. And then the other thing I really liked was the computer lab, and I really utilized that printer a lot. And every time I had technical issues, there was always somebody there to help support me on that. And so the computers were a huge lifesaver for me. I don't think any of this would be possible for me without Jessica Navarro. She has been my advisor in the CCP program since I started at Chemeketa, and I could call her, reach out to her with emails, and explain to her whatever situation I was dealing with in my life, and then she would help me work the problem so that I could get back to my studies and focus on studying, and I didn't have to worry about whatever was happening in my life because she was helping me get it handled. She would provide me with resources or sometimes just inspiration. Chemeketa's culture is what really kept me going. It's really nice to stand shoulder to shoulder with other people who I know are struggling with the same sort of difficulties I am. And financial aid was always helpful whenever I had questions. Enrollment services, it just seemed like everywhere I went, if I had a question, I could find somebody who was going to help me figure that out. And I've utilized just about every service that this college has to offer. I intend to earn 2 four-year degrees. I want to have a bachelor's in nursing, and I want to have a bachelor's in business. And my ultimate goal is to own my own in-home caregiving agency. And I would ultimately like to see a nationalized curriculum for in-home caregivers. Make time to sleep. If you're not sleeping at least 8 hours a night, then you're making your body susceptible to getting sick. And you're certainly not going to be retaining any of the information that you've learned. Sleep is important. Sleep is how your body and your mind rebuilds. And sleep is how your mind processes all of that stuff that you're trying to push into your head. And so if you're not getting at least 8 hours of sleep during a term, you're really not doing yourself any good.